Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, we'll get started. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and this is going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is a calendar for cases that are persons who have been recently arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and these cases have been bound over to the State Court of Fulton County. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, and we're able to address bond, possible arraignment, and any possible plea offers if one has been made by the state at this juncture. I'll also be providing you with a reset date. What is that date?
February the 23rd.
Okay, February 23rd is our SAP reset date. And I want to begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants that you do have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have a right to have counsel and representation at this juncture, which most of you know who your attorneys are. Also, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. The state is here listening, so listen to your attorneys and govern yourselves accordingly. All right, who do we have first, deputies?
I will start in courtroom 2, Mr. Battle, position 1.
All right. This is 23 CR 000-832Y, Roy Battle, charge of 1 count of battery. Offense date, February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial.
I'm gonna defer to the state. I was given the incorrect history for that one.
Okay, state, Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. We have 2 cycles. We're showing 1 out of College Park from 1986 DUI and 1 for out of Raleigh, North Carolina, 1996 possession of stolen goods.
All right.
In this case, Your Honor, this incident happened February 9th of 2023. So yesterday at 10:22 a.m. at the Crystals, located at 5235 Old National Highway. Sharon Poole, who is an employee at the Crystals, stated that the defendant, her coworker, came in, began cleaning where she was standing. She told the defendant to say, "Excuse me," because he was standing in her way. At that point, the defendant cursed at her, called her a bitch, and then began walking up closely to her, causing her to be trapped between his body and the drive-through window. Feeling threatened, she pushed him away to get some distance. And at that point, the defendant hit her in the head with a squeegee mop, which caused a laceration to her head and a significant amount of bleeding when the police arrived. The officers then, after getting the information, went to the defendant's residence where he had retreated to, and when they arrived, he told the police he was waiting on them because he knew he'd be going to jail. So we did have an opportunity to speak with Sharon Poole. I believe she will be here on the Zoom, and we would like to sound for her. She stated that the 2 of them have been working together for 4 years. She stated that this defendant has a bad habit of calling his female coworkers bitch. And she stated that during this incident, he pushed past her, and she again kind of indicated the facts of this case, that he pushed past her and then hit her in the head with a metal squeegee mop. At that point, she stated that it looked like something evil went off of inside of him before he hit her in the head. She said she began bleeding so much it was everywhere, which is corroborated by the police report. And she stated she ended up going to the hospital where she was diagnosed with a contusion. We did receive her medical records as well as photographs that corroborate that information as well. She also had bruising on her forearm. And she stated that she wants no contact with this defendant, and she wants him to stay away from the Crystals location because she is at this point scared to go back to work. So we are asking in this case for a $3,000 surety bond due to the violent nature of this offense. I understand he doesn't have much of a history, but between the colorful names that he has for women who he disagrees with at his workplace, and how he reacted to someone responding to his bullying by striking her in the head and causing her bleeding. We are asking for a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from Crystal at 5235 Old National Highway. No further contact with Sharon Poole, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And again, we would like to sound for Ms. Poole.
All right, I do see someone on the screen with Ms. Poole. I cannot see her face.
I'm here.
Yeah, Ms. Poole, I'm gonna have to be able to see you better okay, that is better. All right, do you wish to address the court, Ms. Poole? Briefly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, raise your right hand for me. You affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you want any further contact with with the defendant, Roy Battle?
No, ma'am.
All right. And are you in fear of Mr. Battle?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you all were co-workers, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you still work there at that location?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you do not?
No, ma'am.
All right.
I fear for my life. I don't. No, ma'am.
All right. Those are the only questions that I have. Any cross-examination, Deputy Falk?
Yeah, just briefly. So, Ms. Poole, when did you discontinue your work at Crystals? Because this incident happened yesterday, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And yesterday was the day I decided I don't want to go back.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the wrapping around your head, is that due to the injury to your head?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's all for the state, Your Honor. If Ms. Poole is stating she is not going back to the Crystal, we still would like to ask for the stay away until we've had an opportunity to speak with Crystals to see if he's still employed there and if they want him back at that location.
All right. Stay, PD's office.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Mr. Roy Battle is 66 years old. He has been a long-term resident of Atlanta. In fact, he has been in this area since the 70s. He does have a sister here. He also has grown children, ages 50, 46, and 39. Mr. Battle completed the 11th grade, and he has been gainfully employed at Crystals for 17 years as a maintenance man. Mr. Battle strongly denies the allegations. He states that there was some type of altercation. He states that Ms. Poole is the person who began yelling at him and that she chest bumped him and also pushed him. He was more so taking measures to defend himself. However, he denies hitting her in the head with the squeegee. He states that that is an accident. Your Honor, my client, again, he's 66 years old. We heard about very remote criminal history for nonviolent offenses. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Battle's behalf. My client informed me that he has been knowing Ms. Poole for a period of time. He wants to continue having contact. However, we will defer to the state's wishes. We are opposed to the stay away, as my client informs me that at this time, Your Honor, he has not been terminated. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grant the $3,000 surety bond. I am going to ask that there be no further contact with the victim, Sharon Poole. He is to stay away from her by any means. No social media, no contact with other third parties. Stay at least 200 yards away from her and have no further contact. I'm going to, as far as this stay away from Crystals, the fact that the victim, Ms. Poole, states that she does not work there, will not intend to return there. I'm a little hesitant, but I think that, again, Mr. Battle could be a danger to other employees, and I am concerned that they feel safe coming to that location, or anyone feels safe coming there. So I'm going to order that he stay away from the Crystal until we can determine and ensure that Ms. Poole will not be back there, and that obviously he's not going to be a danger to anyone else that works with him at Crystal. So right now there will be a stay away. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that should be it for this case. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Poole. Good luck to you, and you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Next.
Position 10, Ms. Jones.
Let me say something before we start with this case. I see a couple of notes in the chat, and there are 4 people who have not been interviewed. This is a large calendar and it's going to delay us. So how can we work this out for time's sake? Positions 4, 5, 7, and 21.
Your Honor, I was able to interview 21 just now.
Okay.
Thank you.
What
Your
about
Honor?
4, 5, and 7?
Position 4 and 5, whenever Attorney Gant has availability, she can call 404-865-8122.
And then what position is that for 7 as well? 4, 5, and 7? Or you don't have 7?
No, Your Honor. What's the name of position 7?
Hall, Dakia Hall.
I am working on that one, Your Honor, and I will let you know as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry. We're back to position 10, case number 23 CR 0000837G. Kiara Jones, charged with 1 count of simple assault, 2nd count of terroristic threats and acts. The offense date is February the 2nd, 2023. I've been informed by pretrial this is her first arrest. So Deputy Falk, you may go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. So this happened February 3rd at 3500 Villa Circle Southeast, which is the Heritage Academy Elementary School. So at the award ceremony at Heritage Academy, this defendant, and I just want to say who is an adult, confronted a 5th grader by the name of, and I won't say her full name on the record since she is a minor, but by the name of PD. She stated to PD, "Bitch, I'll beat your ass," about my daughter. The defendant continued to actually use vulgar and obscene language in front of the 5th graders at the award ceremony until she was removed by school staff member Brittany Bingham. Not only was Brittany Bingham a witness to this, but the officer also got the names of 2 children, TP and TJ, who were also witnesses to Miss Kiara Jones's outburst. Due to that, let's see, we had an opportunity to speak with PD's mom, Mercedes Dowdy. I will sound for her at the end of this to see if she is present here on the Zoom and would like to speak. She stated she does not know the defendant, that their daughters do go to the same school and are 5th graders. She stated she was not at the school when the incident happened, but she did hear about that incident and it did scare her daughter. She is asking for a no further contact with her daughter, PD, and is asking also for a potential stay away, which the state is asking for as well, from Heritage Academy Elementary School. Your Honor, this defendant is 38. Wait, let me make sure my math is correct. Excuse me, 28 years of age. And there's just nothing. There's nothing I can say that makes it okay for you to threaten a 5th grader with beating her and coming towards her in an aggressive way to the point where people in the school have to remove you from the premises. So for that reason, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for $1,500 per charge. We are asking for a stay away from Heritage Academy Elementary School, no further contact with PD, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And at this time, we would like to sound for Miss Mercedes Dowdy.
All right, Ms. Mercedes Dowdy.
I do see her on the Zoom, Your Honor. But we do not require her to go forward if, well, she has her Zoom on, so I'm
I
not
didn't
sure if she'd
know,
like to make a statement.
I didn't know how to turn on the mute, turn
All
off
right.
the,
Ms. Dowdy, I do see you on the screen and I understand that you're the mother of the minor child with the initials of PD.
yes,
And you were not there at the school that day. And we understand that obviously your child would have been fearful of an adult. These allegations turn out to be true. I don't know that I have much that I would need to hear from you at this time on the bond hearing. And I certainly want to give you that opportunity, but that opportunity is better used at the trial of the case or other matters that will be held, if you understand my thinking today. We do have a lot of cases on the calendar and movement. And I don't know that there's anything else that you can add, except that I do understand from the state that you have told them that your daughter is certainly in fear of this situation. Obviously, is she going to go back to school there?
yes, she's been to school every day since then.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions for you. I don't know if the others do, but we do understand what the allegations are, and I have taken notice of those. All
Okay.
right. Thank you. All right. Ms. Gant, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Kiara Jones is 28 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She has a 10-year-old child, 10-year-old daughter. She is the primary caretaker for that child, and she is not receiving any child support. Ms. Jones informs me that her daughter is an A student. She's in the honors program at the incident location. Ms. Jones is completed the 11th grade. She is self-employed. She works as a fashion designer. She has been doing that since 2019. She also is a caregiver for her grandmother. Regarding the allegations, my client strongly denies the allegations. She told me that her daughter had been bullied by minor PD since she was in 4th grade. She's now in 5th grade. My client informs me that she has gone to the school board she actually states that she had a meeting with PD's parents and that basically nothing has been done. My client admits to being at the award ceremony. However, she strongly denies the allegations as reflected in the warrant. In fact, she states that she did not become upset until she went to the principal's office. Now, my client is the primary caretaker for her child. As I stated, she is responsible for getting her child to school. Her child has not been suspended from that school, Your Honor. So we are, of course, requesting a signature bond, given that this is Ms. Jones' first arrest. We are opposed to the stay away. Again, my client has to take her daughter to school on a daily basis. We are unopposed to the no contact order, Your Honor, and we would ask that you, again, give my client a signature bond. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to order a $4,000 signature bond on this case. And I'm going to order it through the jail, which will be $2,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order that Ms. Jones stay away from the Heritage Academy, except for the line, the car rider line. I'm assuming is her child a car rider? And maybe I should have asked that first. Ms. Gant, do we know?
I'm not sure if she's in a car rider, but she states that my client informs me that she drives her to school and drops her off.
Okay, so it sounds like she's a car rider. I see her raising her hand.
Ms. Jones, if you can enlighten us only about that. I do not want you making any statements about this case.
I drive my daughter to school every morning and pick her up. She once was in Wings, but they suspended her.
Okay, Ms. Jones, thank you. Thank you. Please.
Okay, so
remain
she's
silent.
a car rider. She
Okay.
can be in the car rider line only. She cannot get out of the car. She drop her off, pick her up. If it might be even better, she can ride the bus. That way she won't have to be there, but she can only be there. At this point, there's a stay away from the Heritage Academy Elementary School. Certainly, we need a cooling off period, but any official business that she may need to take up will have to be by telephone call at this point. But do you understand, Ms. Jones, you can only go in the car rider's line to drop off, pick up your child. You're not to get out of the car, not to be on the premises of this school right now. I'm going to order no further contact with the minor child PD, as well as PD's mother, who was on the screen, Mercedes. Don't remember the last name. I don't know if she's still on. You remember the mother's last name? Was it McCoy or something?
Dowdy.
Dowdy. Thank you. Dowdy. Because I do want to make sure that the victim in this case is going to be safe as a minor child, and that her mother will be safe as well. So I'm adding Mercedes Dowdy to that no further contact. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And is there anything else I need to take up, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor, for the
All right.
statement of defense. Thank you.
Thank you. I am looking at my chat. Is there anyways, Ms. Kim interviewing?
Your Honor, it appears that she interviewed position 21, so
Yes.
I respectfully ask that I be allowed to interview positions 4, 5, and 7.
Oh, I had the wrong person. Ms. Gant has to interview 4, 5, and 7. Correct. Yes, we would like for you to go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, if we could find out which cases are Ms. Kim's, so that way the jail could bring those individuals up only.
Ms. Kim, what numbers do you have?
From Meclo, so give me 1 second, which position?
I have it, Your Honor.
I have
Do that again.
Ms. Weathers. I have Ms. Weathers right here.
All right, which
Okay.
cases do you have, Ms. Kim?
That's Miss Weathers is my case, Your Honor. I can do her.
Okay. You can do her. And then what others? Do you know the numbers? Are you at a block of numbers? Are
So
they
half-
jumping around?
Alphabetically from M to W, Your Honor.
Okay. Got you. And then Ms. Gant has A through
Yes, A through N.
A through L. A through L.
L. That's
Thank
right.
you,
A
Trial,
through
for
N.
helping us with
Oh.
the alphabet. It's Friday, okay? We've all had a long week. I understand. All right. We'll go ahead with this case. This is position 21, 23 CR 0000849Y. Is it Kayla Weathers? You're charged at 1 count of theft by shoplifting. The offense date is January the 17th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Okay. All right. She got 7 previous cycles. She's on pretrial for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. 23 CP 215210. It has an open shoplifting in state court. 23 CR 000068Y. On probation out of Forsyth for simple battery criminal trespass. That was as of the 13th of this month. Well, hold on. No, 13th of January. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. Got a 2011 battery DV, crude 10 the 3rd. It was merged as disorderly conduct. That was a conviction. 2012, well, that was dismissed. 2014 probation. 2020 suspended license no-low. And the rest of the history is what I just gave you, that she's on probation or have an open case for.
All right, thank you. ASG Abdullah,
Hey, good afternoon, Your Honor.
good afternoon.
The facts show that on January 17, 2023, officers responded to 5300 Windward Parkway, which is the Home Depot On the scene, they met with loss prevention, who told them that the defendant was captured on camera placing a Bosch laser leveler in her cart and walking out. Before walking out, she showed a counterfeit receipt to the one of the clerks at the front door. In the parking lot, she was confronted by loss prevention, at which time she abandoned the cart, ran to her car and lifted her tag plate up and drove off. Loss prevention recognized the defendant from an earlier theft by shoplifting case, in which they were able to give the officer their investigation report that he used to identify the defendant. As you heard from pre-trial, she does have an open theft by shoplifting case that was from January 1st, 2023, so just a few weeks ago. For that reason, the state is recommending a $2,500 surety bond, a stay away from the 5300 Wynwood Parkway, Home Depot, anti-theft counseling, and no drugs, weapon, or alcohol while on bond. Nothing further from the state.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Weathers is 30 years old, and she's a young single mother of 6 children from 2 years to 15 years old. And they are right now watched by her friends here and there, scattered. It is very crucial for her to return home to take care of her minor children. Your Honor, she is qualified for public defender services because even though she has employment at a law firm as a paralegal, her income is not enough to take care of her and 6 kids that she is residing with. So she is still qualified for public defender services. She has an associate degree, and also she has been working continuously to be employed, gainfully employed, to take care of her 6 kids financially, because her soon-to-be ex-husband has not been employed, and he has not been able to provide any child support. They are legally separated and in the middle of the divorce, but they're still legally married, and yet she has not been getting any help from him. So we would like to request for signature on bond if Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond because of the previous charge. We ask for maximum $500 good bond. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order the $2,500 surety bond. I'm going to order stay away from the Home Depot, 5300 Wynwood Parkway. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
We requested a anti-theft counseling.
I won't order that at this time. That should
Nothing further.
conclude it.
Nothing further from defense.
Thank you. That will conclude this matter.
Your Honor, what was the bond amount?
That was 2,500 surety.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, bye-bye.
Your Honor, we can go to position 6. Mr. Green.
Judge, the state should have his file. I'm sure they'll tell you about yesterday. So,
Okay.
because he was reset from yesterday.
This is 23 CR 0000802J. Walter Green, charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence, offense date February the 8th, 2023. State.
Yes, Your Honor. Let me just pull that up for a moment. Okay, we're ready to go forward on this one. However, I will say this was actually originally a breakout case. So when we heard this yesterday, the state did request a breakout. Can
I
everyone
don't
hear me?
have an issue with it being a breakout, Your Honor. I believe Mr. Green's girlfriend is on the Zoom. She was unable to.
Right, she wasn't able to be present last time, but we just need to catch Judge Mincy up to where we are at this point. Since Judge Morrow reset the case yesterday.
All right, we need to go in breakout for that.
Yes, it should only take a few minutes.
All right. Miss Grace. Or no?
Judge Katrina Lewis, I'll get you.
Oh, Miss Lewis, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, Deputy Falk, Ms. McLeod. And myself, I guess.
He said, y'all starting, but he not going to
courtroom too. Is it possible, please, when the judge comes back, that I be able to do position 5 and 4? It's very important that I do position 5.
I think position 5 was Miss McLeod's client, and I don't think she's
Oh,
in
Ms. Gant,
It's
Oh,
Ms.
I'm
Gant.
sorry.
Yes,
you good, Milton?
thank you.
All right. Hey, Ms. Gant, I got the phone from my father. Ms. Milton,
Yes,
Ms. Gant have one more, and that's
Okay.
Ms. Hall. So
Okay.
she finished.
all right, thank you. Is vital.
All right. No,
Judge, you muted.
Sorry, we're at position 5.
Your Honor, I want to go ahead and do position number 4 first, Ms. Faison. And then as soon as she's finished, I'll do position 5, Ms. Foster, so I can get her out of here.
What was the bond for Green?
I'm sorry. Let me go back on the.
It was the
positions.
$3,000 good bond.
$3,000 surety bond. Stay away from Stokes Avenue. No further contact with Miss Gibson or Mr. Chambers. Continue with his meds. Signing to the competency calendar.
I know. So it's the same from yesterday?
Somewhat. I may have a few more conditions there.
Okay. All right, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, position 4. 23 CR 000-833C. Shaniqua Faison. Is that who we have? All right. You're charged with 1 count of stalking, 2nd count of criminal trespass. Offense date 2/9/2023. Pretrial.
6 adult arrests. Hold on. She got an open battery DV in state court. It's 22 CR 008-011C. On probation for ag assault. Superior Court. 19 SC 172917. Hold on. Okay, last arrest was in November for the battery DV. 2020 trespass damage to property. 2020 FTA for the ag assault. 2019 misdemeanor obstruction arrest. Okay, she's on the first offender probation for the ag. And that's all, because our first cycle was a juvenile.
All right. Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 12 a.m. Defendant was at 7693 Battle Way in Fairburn. Julia Seiler, S-I-L-E-R is her last name, stated that the defendant was banging on the doors and windows and threw a plastic water bottle at the window. The defendant claimed that she was there to see Raheem Seiler, and that he told her to come to the residence. Mr. Seiler, who shares children with the defendant, stated he, in fact, did not advise her to come to the residence. We did have a chance to speak with Mr. Seiler, and I will sound for him. He did inform our office that they have 2 children together, ages 3 years and 6 months. They don't live together, have not been together for over a year, and he has full custody of the children. He stated that this incident is not the first incident. There have been many. And he stated he believes there may be some MH issues going on, and that she needs to understand that she can't just pop up whenever she feels like it, and she has to stop stalking him. He stated she has told him to stay away. Told her to stay away, but the defendant keeps coming back. He does want her to get help, and he is filing for a TPO. So he does at this point want no further contact and a stay away order. The defendant is under first offender probation, as pretrial said, for that aggravated assault, which was against her, I believe, Chantel Lewis, who I believe is one of her children, I don't believe the same children she shares with Mr. Seiler, but we would need to double check that. She also has a 2020 FTA, and she was given a $1,500 surety bond on that 22 CR open family violence battery case that was with Shonda Taylor, another one of her children, where she was told to stay away from 875 Conley Road, which is a different address than this address. And that was issued by Judge Morrow in November of 2022, but then was reduced to a $1,500 signature bond in 2023. She was released on February 8th because she had a probation violation that she was being held on. She was then arrested on February 8th. Well, there is a booking information in the GCIC on February 8th from South Fulton PD for criminal trespass, and then this arrest for stalking. So based on that, the state is requesting a $5,000 surety bond. That's going to be $2,500 for each count, 1 count of stalking and 1 count of criminal trespass. We're asking for no further contact with Mr. Raheem Seiler. We are further asking that she stay away from the address at 7693 Battle Way in Fairburn, and that she have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
Okay. Okay, PD Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Shaniqua Faison is 26 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She tells me that she has two children, a 5-month-old and a 3-month-old, that she shares with the complaining, well, one of the complaining witnesses, Mr. Raheem Seiler. She states that she is co-parenting with him. She's not receiving any financial support. Ms. Faison earned a GED, and at this time she is unemployed. Prior to becoming unemployed, Your Honor, she was working as a hairdresser. She lost her job when she was taken into custody. She has been in custody for 2 months. She strongly denies the allegations. I would bring to the court's attention that Ms. Faison's residential address is listed as 7693 Battle Way, Fairburn, Georgia. She states that when she was released from custody, she went back to that location. She states that she had not been given any warning to stay away from there. She states that she was there and that someone called the police on her. She doesn't believe that it is Ms. Seiler. Someone called the police on her. The police came there asking for identification. She could not produce any because of the fact that she was just released from custody. So again, it was her understanding that she was actually residing at that incident location, Your Honor. I do acknowledge my client's history, Your Honor. However, these are non-violent offenses, and she did receive first offender for aggravated assault. Of course, she's presumed innocent in any open cases. Therefore, I am requesting actually, let me back up. I did have the occasion to speak with Mr. Seiler. He informed me that he does not want any contact. Therefore, we will defer to the court's ruling. I am requesting that my client be granted a one-time law enforcement one-time law enforcement escort so that she can retrieve any belongings from the incident location, and that Your Honor ordered third-party transfer along with a signature bond. And we're unopposed to the no contact orders with Raheem and Julia Seiler. Thank you.
And Your Honor, Mr. Seiler is present under Zoom user. I will also state that when the officer went out on February 9th, he was informed by Supervisor Sergeant Foster that Foster had cited the defendant for criminal trespass the day before, and she left and returned back to the residence in spite of that criminal trespass warning that had previously been issued. So we would like to sound for Mr. Seiler, who now has his name in the chat, in the box.
Okay, Mr. Seiler. Oh, I see you. Okay. Do you wish to address the court today on this case?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you speak briefly. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. Are you in fear of Miss Faison?
No.
Okay. And you all have children together, or what is the relationship?
Yes, we all have children together.
Okay. How old are they?
We got a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old.
5 months.
Yes.
Okay. And you all are residing together too?
No, ma'am.
Don't reside together? Okay. Do you want contact with Ms. Faison?
No, ma'am.
No
Not
contact.
until she can get some help. Some MH help.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Any cross-examination, Deputy Falk?
No, Your Honor.
PD Gant?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give my ruling. My order will be a $5,000 surety bond And that will be 3,000 on the stalking and 2,000 on the criminal trespass. I'm going to order, and who lives at, it's Battle Way, 7693 Battle Way in Fairburn?
Your Honor, that's the residence of Raheem Seiler and Julia Seiler.
Okay, all right. I am going to order the stay away from that residence. So that Ms. Faison, you cannot go to that residence. And I'm going to order no further contact with the victims, Julia Seiler, Jaheim Seiler. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while I'm on, except for anything prescribed to you. And I did not hear a request for an evaluation. And I don't know, what are we going to say, Deputy Falk?
The state did not make one. I mean, would recommend, based on what Mr. Seiler said, that maybe social worker go out, but we didn't have enough information to conclusively ask for MHET.
Okay.
And Your
Ms.
Honor,
Gant?
the defense objects to MHET. We do not have any concerns regarding competency. However, Your Honor, I would ask for third-party transfer and one-time law enforcement escort if Your Honor has completed her ruling.
Mr. Seiler, does Miss Faison have any personal items of clothing or things at this address?
No, ma'am, but I do want to add on the MH though. Like,
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Seiler is not competent to opine regarding my client's mental health needs.
What we're going to do, Mr. Seiler, I'm just going to ask PD Gant to have social services to go out and interview and speak with Miss Faison to see if there's any assistance that they can provide. But I cannot at this point, without any more information, order anything beyond the social worker visit, okay? And I hope you can continue to get some help for that. But if she doesn't have any items at that home, I'm not going to order a one-time escort back.
No, she don't have anything there.
Okay. And I'm not going to order at this time any visitation with children. I will let Mr. Seiler handle that through Superior Court or Juvenile Court or whatever he needs to do with that. But I'm not going to order any third-party transfer or any visitation at this time. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right.
Nothing for the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Foster, come on. The judge is waiting for you. Have a seat. Ms. Foster, come on.
Hey, Ms. Falk.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
Ms. Foster will be proceeding pro se on a plea.
Well, Ms. Gant, my understanding, there's maybe some issues that may make us unable to go forward on a plea at this point.
I do not have any concerns regarding my client's competency, Ms. Falk.
Then we will need to send her the plea paperwork since there was kind of two things going on at the same time. So I will forward the plea paperwork over to the South Annex. If I could get an email address for who I need to send that to.
Thank you.
So South Annex, if you could do me a favor, this defendant is going to be taking a plea. Can you please put in the chat your email address so that I can send you the paperwork?
I do not have a printer here to print it off. That's the only issue I have.
Okay. Well, Your Honor, I would say we're ready to go forward on the bond since we would not be able to get that paperwork over to her for her to sign or send back.
Yeah, if we can't get that done, we cannot take a plea today.
What type of shit is that? That don't make no fucking sense.
Excuse me.
Sounds like you guys just don't know what the fuck you're
Your
doing.
Honor,
Very disrespectful. We will reset this till tomorrow.
Hey, Ms. Falk,
I do
Yes,
apologize. Your Honor.
Sergeant Norris.
I have a question for you. Mr.
Yes, sir.
McCullough, he was on this bind over sheet. Is he gonna be seen in court today?
McCullough's is going to be on the SAP calendar since he has already been to first appearance in municipal court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is that we resetting?
It's not a
That is
reset.
Position number.
Yes.
No, the lady we just got through doing.
Oh,
Does Ms. Foster have a bond?
Oh, Foster, I don't know, but it's tomorrow.
hold on. Let me double check on Miss Foster, whether she received a bond or not on her case. Miss Foster did not. She's on no bond status.
We can try it tomorrow.
And
Okay.
I will send over the paperwork and see if they can print it out between now and tomorrow.
Okay. We'll try that. We'll reset it for tomorrow for a plea. But if she's disrespectful in the way she is, I guess tomorrow the judge can set a bond based on that. But she's on no bond status.
Okay. So who's next?
Position 11, Ms. Knight.
All right, this is 23 CR 0000840G. Cassandra Knight. Charged at 1 count of simple battery, family violence. Offense date, February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial.
18 total. Last was 2014 probation. 2013 failed to appear, not prosecuted. Burglary conviction from 2012. And before that was an 08 probation, 07 failed to appear, and 06 burglary conviction.
All right. Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened yesterday at 2229 Tiger Flowers Drive. Officer spoke with Joseph Capes, who is here on the Zoom, who stated his living girlfriend punched him in the face while he was sleeping on the couch. Mr. Capes was not able to give to the officers a reason at that time for the incident, and the defendant was not on the scene at the time, but was later arrested. We have had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Capes. He stated that he and the defendant have been together for approximately 2 years, have no children, and they both live at that address. He stated they don't have a domestic violence history, but then he also stated that they have called the police before. So that ran a little contrary to the earlier statement. I will also state that he told our victim advocate that they were both drunk, acting a fool, and that is all. He did not sustain any injuries, and which is why it was charged as a simple battery. And although he does want contact, the state does have some concerns. There hasn't been a sufficient cooling off period since this incident happened yesterday evening. Although she does not have any convictions over the last 5 years, we had 2 probation violations, 2014, 2008, FTAs from 2013 and 2007. And due to this incident, we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, stay away from 2229 Tiger Flowers Drive, and no further contact with Joseph Capes. And as I stated, he is here on the Zoom when you are ready to hear from him.
All right. Mr. Capes, do you wish to address the court today? Unmute yourself. Do you wish to address the court today?
Sure, I can do that.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, put your hand down. Are you in fear of Ms. Knight?
No.
I'm sorry?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And do you want to have contact with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like her to come home.
Okay. All right. And so who owns this home, or is it leased?
I lease it.
You lease it? Are both names on the
Yes.
lease or just yours?
Just mine.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Deputy Falk?
Mr. Capes, let me just ask, did the facts of the case, are they correct that you were punched in the face by the defendant?
Yes, I think so. Like I said, I don't sleep.
That's all.
All right. Ms. Gant, PD
Thank
Gant.
you, Your Honor. Cassandra Knight is 57 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 40 years. She has 4 children, ages 42, 27, and she also has a set of 30-year-old twins. She states that she and Mr. Capes, the complaining witness, have been together for 4 years. Mrs. Knight completed 12th grade. She has been unemployed for 5 years, and she states that Mr. Capes is basically takes care of her. She does not have any familial resources to bond out, nor does she have another place to live. I did speak to Mr. Capes prior to the hearing. He confirmed that he wants to continue having contact, as does my client. She strongly denies the allegations. And regarding my client's history, she has very remote history for non-violent offenses. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond on Ms. Knight's behalf, and I would ask that Your Honor order no violent contact. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to order a $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Joseph Capes. I'm going to order a stay away from, is it 2235 Tiger Flowers Drive? And I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for any prescriptions that are prescribed. I do believe there needs to be some cooling down period. And I think that will be it. Anything else, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. May Your Honor order a one-time law enforcement escort so that she can retrieve her belongings?
Yes, I will order that one-time law enforcement escort. If you get out on bond, Miss Knight, you're not to go back to that location. You need to find somewhere else to live. But if you are able to secure the law enforcement escort, with that escort, you can go back to get your personal items, but do not go back on your own, or else that could render you back in jail.
Judge, what was that address? What was the address again?
2235 Tiger Flowers Drive.
Your Honor, it's 2229 Tiger Flowers Drive.
Okay, that's what I have. Thank you.
Sorry.
And Your
Sorry
Honor,
about that.
Not a problem.
Your Honor, I do apologize for interrupting. I just want to be clear about the bond amount. The state's recommendation is $2,000, and your bond order is more than double that. Is that an oversight, or were you intending to order a signature bond, or is $5,000 just your recommendation?
That I would admit that was an oversight, but I will lower that to $3,000. $3,000 surety bond.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next.
Position 7, Ms. Hall.
This is 23 CR 0000836F. Ms. Hall, you charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Offense date February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial.
Second arrest, 2019 obstruction conviction.
Okay. All right, Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm going to lead with the easy part. The defendant is currently on a $1,500 surety bond. The state is recommending a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from Lakewood MARTA station. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We would ask for a social worker evaluation prior to release. That's just because of the facts of this case. This happened at the Lakewood MARTA station yesterday. Defendant went on the track side of the MARTA station, passed a sign that clearly said do not enter, and remained in that area for long enough that it caused rail service to be disrupted for approximately 10 minutes.
All right. PD Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense is unopposed to the $3,000 signature bond. We are also unopposed to the stay away at the incident location. I'm happy to enter a BHET evaluation. Ms. Hall is 24 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She does have family here. However, she has been distraught as of late because of a recent health issue, Your Honor. Ms. Hall completed high school. At this time, she is unemployed, and at this point, these are allegations. My client is presumed innocent. And again, I am unopposed to the signature bond and stay away. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order the stay away from the Lakewood MARTA. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order the, is it BHET?
Yes, Your Honor.
I order that. And is that everything? Anything else, counsel, I need to take up?
Anything from the
Nothing
defense,
further.
Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Position 18, Ms. Swanson.
This is 23 CR 000-851H, Tiffany Swanson, charge of 1 count of simple battery, family violence, offense date October the 24th, 2022. Do I have private counsel on this case or something or another case?
No,
Attorney
it is me,
Matthews?
Your Honor, I apologize.
Okay,
tried to
I
get it.
saw Attorney Matthews pop on the screen and I thought it was this case. I apologize. Which case are you here for, Attorney Matthews?
Hey, Judge, good afternoon to this
Good
honorable
afternoon.
court. Judge, I am here on government versus Darius Montford
Okay.
on the felony calendar, and they told me that they thought it may have been a misdemeanor matter. So I've got the meeting ID and logged on.
Okay. All right, I believe we do have him on. I think that's position 13, so we'll get to you shortly, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, back to Ms. Swanson, pretrial.
It's a 5th arrest. Last arrest was 2019 for robbery. Exploit and inflict pain on a disabled or elderly person. Appears to be open out of DeKalb County. First offender probation for entering auto out of Statesboro, Georgia. 2019 simple battery DV arrest. 2019 theft by taking arrest. That's it.
All right. Oh, Deputy, I'm sorry, ASG.
I'm here,
Abdul?
Your Honor, from the state. Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
In addition to those arrests, the defendant does have a probation warrant out of Statesboro as well as a FTA warrant out of Atlanta. The facts show that on October 24th, 2022, Ms. Kashana Williams, who is on the Zoom call today, reported to officers that her and the defendant got into a verbal dispute about Dee staying in the house while Ms. Williams was at work. The defendant was offended that Ms. Williams would confront her about that and started choking Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams then told the defendant to leave, at which time she refused, saying she would not leave until she was able to retrieve her wallet. Ms. Williams told the defendant that she could get her wallet when the police arrived, and she would not let the defendant in until the police arrived. The defendant got upset and began pulling on Mrs. Williams' jacket and striking her in the face while trying to take her keys. She was able to get the keys, at which time she took her wallet and fled the scene before officers arrived. As you heard from pretrial, she does have a very concerning history. She has an open case for what seems to be elderly abuse, assaulting or obstructing an elder from critical care. For this reason, the state is concerned for the safety of the victim as well as the public. We're requesting a $5,000 good bond or surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Miss Kishana Williams. A stay away from the incident location 3003 Middle Road, apartment 268. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. 1 day anger awareness. And if we could sound for the victim.
Do you see the victim on the Zoom?
Yeah, she is.
Kashana Williams. Would you like to address the court, Ms. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you in fear of Ms. Swanson?
Not at all.
All right. Do you want to have contact with Ms. Swanson?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you all reside together at, is it 3030 Middle Road?
3003. No, ma'am,
sorry?
we don't.
You don't reside there together?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And that is your residence?
Yes, it's me and my son.
You and your whom?
My son.
Son. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Just a minor son?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I don't have any other questions. Do you have any cross-examination, Mr. Abdullah?
I would just ask, are the facts that they were stated, are they true? Were you hit on October 24th of 2022 by the defendant?
No, I wasn't. She did take my keys and grab me, but I was not hit physically.
Okay, that's nothing further from the state.
All right. Any cross-examination, PD Kim?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you can go forward.
Sure. Ms. Swanson is 23 years old, and Your Honor, she's gainfully employed ever since she got out of the jail in DeKalb County, 2021. She has been really working hard 6 days a week as assistant manager at JJ Chicken Restaurant. Your Honor, she completed GED. Not only that, she's also taking classes at Atlanta Tech College for cosmetology and logistics. She loves her classes. She found a positive path and career path that she's very excited about. And in Your Honor, the reason that she has FTA is because she was incarcerated in DeKalb County from December 2019 to February 2021, almost 1 year and 3 months. So something happened, she could not possibly go, and she tried to contact to let them know about her incarceration, but apparently communication was not successful and she got FTA. And I would like to make sure that you're aware that it's not her fault, that she was not intentionally missing those. Your Honor, Ms. Swanson is totally different person. She is working hard, going to school, and she has not had any conversation with Kashona Williams ever since November 2022. Your Honor, it was Ms. Williams, she pulled my client's hair first. And my client just wanted to get a wallet, which had her ID, her driver's license, her social security card, all those important things. That was all. And I would like to ask that my client get signature on bond. She was not the first aggressor. She was defending herself, just wanted to get her purse, wallet. If Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond because of past history, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond so that way she can move forward to return to become a productive citizen. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order the $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the incident location 3030 Middle Road, if I have that correct. I'm going to order
No,
no
no,
further.
Your Honor, it's 3003 Middle Road.
3003 Middle Road. And I'm going to order no further contact with the victim. And that is Kashana Williams. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons except any prescribed to Ms. Swanson while on bond. And I'm going to order a one-day anger awareness course. And I think that should conclude this matter. Anything else?
Nothing.
Your Honor, did you mean to say the signature on bond? Usually one-day anger awareness course was not offered for a surety bond.
No, I didn't mean to say a signature bond. That's for sure. I was just going to order some type of one-day anger management course that seemed to be appropriate under the circumstances if she's not going to have access to be able to do it. But I just thought I would put that in there. It was a request of the state. They could get information as to where to take them at private locations upon release. Is that correct?
Right. It's my understanding that the one-day anger awareness doesn't have to go through pretrial, and she can get these services on her own.
Right. And that's what I was trying to order, PD Kim.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right. That will conclude this case. Next.
Your Honor, she had a question, and I just,
Yes, about her bond conditions.
No, ma'am. Ms. Swanson, if it is not about the bond condition, please do not say anything. It is your constitutional right to remain silent. I'll definitely give you a call so you can ask me all the questions.
yeah. do that. Position 13, Mr. Munford.
Okay.
Call your turn.
All right. This is case number 23. CR 0000842E. And I understand that the defendant in this case, Mr. Darius Munford, is being charged with 2 counts of simple battery, the 3rd count of criminal trespass, a 4th count of theft by taking. And I believe he's represented by a private attorney, Mr. Matthews. And he may have stepped away. Attorney Matthews. Isn't this the correct case I have? He was
Yes, this
represented
is-
by,
It is, Your Honor.
But we can come back to him if you
we'll
like.
have to come back.
And
I'm
Judge,
sorry,
also, I
Deputy.
noticed that the victim is also on the line for this case.
Okay, Miss Jeffy, is it?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, we're trying to get hold of his attorney. And he may have stepped away. We'll have to wait till he comes back. So hold a little bit longer for us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, deputies, I'm sorry. His attorney has stepped away.
Okay, we can go to position 22, Ms. Williams.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000848B. Davina Williams charged with 1 count of theft by taking. Offense date February the 8th, 2023. Pretrial.
It's the 9th arrest. Last was 2019 FTA, criminal damage to property. FTA burglary, 2nd degree. 2019 shoplifting arrest. 2019 trespass arrest. 2017 failure to appear. 2015 simple assault. Had Got a battery DV that was dismissed from 2014. Trespass, theft of lost and mislaid property from '08. It was DWAP. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right, ASG Abdullah.
Yes, Your Honor. The facts show that on February 9th, 2023, officers were dispatched to 1 Margaret Mitchell Street, which is the Central Library, in regards to a theft of property. On the scene, officers met with the victim, Haley Von Heydrich, who told them she entered the 3rd floor restroom of the library and put her backpack on the sink and into the stall. When she came out of the stall, her bag was gone. Officers reviewed the surveillance footage and witnessed the defendant enter the restroom without a bag and then exit the restroom with the backpack of Miss Van Heydrich. Although the defendant does not have any convictions, she has several FTAs, which creates a significant flight risk. There are 5 FTAs in total, as well as arrest for theft of lost property. For this reason, the state is recommending a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Haley Van Heydrich, a stay away from the 1 Margaret Mitchell Street, and an anti-theft counseling. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. And I don't see the victim on the Zoom, but if we could sound for her.
All right. Is Ms. Hailey Von Heydrich on the call on the Zoom? Ms. Hailey Von Heydrich. Don't think she's on, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing
All
further
right.
from the state.
Okay. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Williams is 36 years old, Your Honor, and she has not been able to have any employment. She completed up to 9th grade. She does not have diploma nor GED. Your Honor, she is currently residentially challenged, so she's qualified for public defender's services because of her financial resources. That is very challenging. I would like to request for social worker services to visit her so that way they can provide housing resources and have BHET done so that way they can kind of evaluate. We would like to request for signature on bond since she has no financial means to pay any bond. She does not have anybody else who can bond her out as well. So even $500 good bond will be a no bond for her. So we would like to request signature on bond or maximum $500 good bond. Thanks.
Your Honor, if we could just rebut very quickly.
Okay.
I just want to distinguish between the excessive bond and affordable bond. The defense has made an argument that it's not affordable. However, because of the significant flight risk posed by the defendant's multiple FTAs, the $4,000 good bond seems appropriate in this case. In addition to that, as far as the defense interest in getting her social work, we agree and we share those interests. We think that's best served if she's in custody and the social worker can speak to her while she's there. Because once she's released, we may not see her again based off the FTAs. Nothing further from the state.
Your Honor, she has a phone number and she also has a mailing address that she can use free at she can use the service at First Presbyterian Church. They offer free mailing services.
Okay. All right, I will order a $3,000 surety bond. I will order that there will be a stay away from the 1 Margaret Mitchell Street, Central Library. Ms. Williams is not to go back there under any circumstances. I will also order no further contact with Haley Von Heydrich. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for any prescribed medications. And I think that will be it for now, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Position 13, Mr. Marker.
Okay. All right, this is position 1323 CR 0000842E. Darius Munford, charged with 2 counts of simple battery, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 1 count of theft by taking. All 4 charges carry the offense date of October the 16th, 2022. And I do see Attorney Matthews is back, so we're ready to proceed. Let's have pretrial present.
13 total. He had a 2011 misdemeanor possession of marijuana out of Alabama. As far as Georgia, last arrest was back in May, theft by receiving. Before that was a 2020 arrest in DeKalb County. Put that in the chat for you. 2020 suspended license. He had a 2017 CWAC charge that was dismissed. 2015 probation violation. 2014 criminal damage to property, first degree, not presented to grand jury. Given false name conviction from 2014. 2014 suspended license. And the 2012 given false name. That's it.
All right. Go
Yes, Your Honor.
ahead, Attorney Matthews. I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon again to this honorable court. Your Honor, I've had the opportunity to know Darius Munford for some period of time. He is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. He is gainfully employed. He does have children that he does provide for. Your Honor, when he was arrested, he was taken into custody without incident. He did not give a false name. He did not give a false date of birth. He did not attempt to obstruct law enforcement by running or doing anything of that nature. Your Honor, with respect to his background, I did hear his background being read. He's not on probation for anything at this time. And with respect to the allegations in this offense that is alleged against him, the alleged victim, Your Honor, is on the Zoom call with us this afternoon. Her name is Alexis Jeffy. She is occupied in one of the squares. I have had a communication with her. She contacted my office and not the reverse. She indicated to me that she's asking the court to set a bond for him. She indicated that she did not call law enforcement regarding this alleged incident. She indicates that she did not request any arrest of Mr. Munford. She indicated that the officer, when the officer arrived, the officer asked her whether or not she wanted to get her phone back, which was in my client's vehicle. She indicated she was inside my client's vehicle, and she left her phone inside the vehicle during the course of an argument. And then at some point, my client drove off, realized that she didn't have the phone on her and that it was in his car, and that someone, a neighbor or somebody, called the police. So she's asking ultimately that these charges be dismissed. I know that this is not the proper and appropriate venue at this time for that request. However, I do think it does send a message to the court that he does not pose a risk of intimidating her, coercing her, pressuring her, threatening her, anything of that nature, and that he does fit the criteria for a reasonable bond here based on charges. Respectfully, Your Honor, I would ask this court to set a bond. Ask the court on an aggregate. I'd ask the court to set an aggregate bond of $2,500 on all of the counts that are before the court. Require him to have no violent contact with Ms. Alexis Jeffy, and require him to continue to be gainfully employed and to stay in touch with his attorney who has been retained in the case and appear in court when called upon to do so. Thank you.
And where is Mr. Munford working?
Mr. Munford, can you tell the court where you're gainfully employed right now?
Hey, I'm a barber and a mechanic. I'm a barber and I do mobile mechanic work. Me and my father, we've been doing that for the last 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Munford is how old?
31.
31?
Yes, ma'am. 31.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm not sure, but you haven't given the state an opportunity to present yet. I'm not sure if you.
And I apologize. Thank you.
Okay.
I apologize, Mr. Abdullah. Please forgive me.
No worries. I didn't know if you had an intention or anything. I should have interrupted earlier.
I did not. That was an oversight on my part. And I thought about it because I noted in my notes, I don't have a recommendation from the state. So that tells me why. I charge it to my head and not my heart. Go ahead, ASG Abdullah. And let me go back, Attorney Matthews, do you have anything else to add before I go to the state in backwards order, and then I'll go to our victim?
That's what I was going to ask the court if it wanted to hear from Ms. Jeffy.
I will allow her to briefly give me some testimony, but I'll let the state present first. Go ahead, state. I apologize.
Your Honor, I wish that I could save us all some time. Unfortunately, the facts, as stated in the warrant, are a little different from how the defense reports it.
Okay.
The facts from the warrant state on October 16th, officers were called to 2714 Topaz Road in South Fulton. They met with Alexis Jeffy, who reported to officers the defendant came over to address an issue about other people in their relationship. Ms. Jeffy tried to leave to avoid arguing with the defendant, and he became irate and snatched her keys from her hand. Ms. Jeffy began recording the altercation and continued to try to get her keys back so that she could leave. When the defendant noticed that she was recording, he snatched her phone from her hands and then got into his vehicle and attempted to leave with her belongings. At that time, Ms. Jeffy sat in the defendant's passenger seat and demanded he give her back her keys and her phone. When Ms. Jeffy got out of the car, the defendant drove off and threw her keys out the window, but he kept her house key. He threw her car key out the window, but he kept a house key. Due to him throwing those keys out the window, her car key was damaged and she was no longer able to start her car with that key, so she was stuck at the scene. The defendant also took Ms. Jeffy's the defendant also kept Mrs. Jeffy's cell phone. Officers contacted the defendant from the scene and asked him to return Ms. Jeffy's cell phone and try to get the issue resolved right there that day. The defendant told the officers that he would not return to the scene, at which time the officers put a warrant out for his arrest. Again, Ms. Jeffy said that she did not call the police, but this altercation was so dramatic and caused such a disturbance that one of the neighbors had to call the police out of concern for Ms. Jeffy. Pre-trial briefly went over his history, but he does have several violent crimes in his history. He has from what I see, an open murder case out of DeKalb County. He also has an active warrant for simple assault, family violence. We were unable to confirm the victim in that case, but that case was just from October 2022, which is about 4 or 5 months ago. He also has a criminal damage to property in 2014 and an aggravated SB from 2017. For these reasons, it seems that the defendant poses a risk, not only to the defendant, but to the general public. We're requesting a $2,000 surety bond as to each count of simple battery. We're requesting a $1,000 surety bond for criminal trespass and a $1,000 surety bond for the theft by taking, for a total of $6,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim. A stay away from the incident location 2714 Topaz Road, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. Nothing further from the state.
All right. Ms. Jeffy, would you like to address the court today?
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor, may I just jump in for just a moment?
Yes.
Given that where the government is at this point in terms of what they're asking for in terms of a bond, I would ask this court, all things considered, to consider a $5,000 bond on everything in the aggregate with a no violent contact concerning Alexis Jeffy, if it may please the court.
And you went out on me a little bit. Did you say 500 or 5,000?
A $5,000 good bond on all counts, all things considered, with a no violent contact concerning Alexis Jeffy. She's here. I don't think at this point, given that the government's presentation to the court and mine, that calling her as a witness on our behalf is necessary, given where we are.
All right.
Well, she has a right to speak, so we can just sound for her, and if she decides to speak, we'll go from there.
Your Honor, I called her as a witness, so I'm not calling her as a witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
She's my witness today.
I understand. Ms. Jeffy, as a victim in this case, do you wish to address the court today?
Yes.
All right, if you're going to do that, I'm going to swear you in first. And I'm going to be very limited with my questions and your testimony because this is just a bond hearing. This is not a trial. Okay? And so raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, put your hand down. And are you in fear of Mr. Munford?
Absolutely not. Not at all.
Do you want to continue to have contact with Mr. Munford?
Yes, I do.
And do the two of you reside together at this 2714 Tapas Road?
We don't live together, no.
Okay. Do you have any children together?
No,
Okay. All right. And you stated you were not in fear of him.
not at all.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Mr. Abdullah, ASG Abdullah, do you have any cross-examination?
Yes, just very quickly, Your Honor.
Okay.
In the October 2022 simple assault case from South Fulton, were you the victim, Ms. Jeffrey?
Simple assault?
From South Fulton in October of 2022, a few months back?
I believe, isn't that this right now, October 22?
No, this is from October 16. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. She's correct. This is the case calling. I'm sorry. Just last question. Do you still live at the 2714 Tapas Road?
I'm over there, yes.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay. Attorney Matthews, any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. You can mute yourself, Ms. Jeffrey. Thank you for your time. I'm going to give my ruling and order the $6,000 surety bond. That's $2,000 on each of the simple battery cases and $1,000 on the criminal trespass and $1,000 on the theft by taking. I'm going to order a stay away from 2714 Tapas Road. I'm going to order no further violent contact with Alexis Jeffy. Since this incident did occur in October, it is now February. So I'm assuming that the time for calm has occurred and that there will be no further violent contact between the parties. And I'm going to order no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond, except for those prescribed by a doctor. And I will add that the defendant will stay in touch with his attorney to be able to show back up in court and keep his address current or his attorney's information current so that you will get notices of further court dates. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mathis, can you make sure you file your entry of appearance so you will get notified? If you don't file your entry, we won't be able to notify you.
I will do. What information would you like me to put on the entry in terms of the warrant number or case number?
It's just be the case number that he's incarcerated with. I can put that in the chat if you don't have it.
That'd be great. Judge, after I get that information, I will get an entry over and may we all be excused. May Ms. Jeffy and Mr. Munford be excused.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure to see the court.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Pleasure to see you too, brother.
Position 2, Mr. Bell.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000850J, Anthony Bell. You're charged with one count of criminal trespass. The offense date is February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Judge Mincy.
Yes.
I do apologize for interrupting. Mr. Bell will be proceeding pro se the plea.
And Your Honor, we have turned the paperwork over to Ms. Katrina Lewis. She does have the completed paperwork.
This the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I understand, Mr. Bell, you wish to plead guilty today?
Yeah, sure.
To one count of criminal trespass?
Yes.
Okay, gonna swear you in. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let the state present, and then I'm going to come back to you in order to take your pro se plea. You're intending to represent yourself today?
Yes.
Okay. You understand the consequences of that. You're to know the laws and rules of court. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Deputy Falk.
Your Honor, this happened yesterday at the Walgreens at 15 Edgewood Avenue. The defendant was on the property after being issued several criminal trespass warnings for shoplifting. State's recommendation is 12 months with 1 day to serve, credit for time served, balance suspended, stay away from the Walgreens at 15 Edgewood Avenue. Nothing further.
All right. All right. And you heard that plea, Mr. Bell. Is that your understanding? 12 months to serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day. The balance of the probation will be suspended as long as you meet the conditions of staying away from the Walgreens at 15 Edgewood Avenue, that you will not go back there. And if you do, you'll be arrested. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And you can comply with that condition, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me ask you a series of questions in order to accept your plea. It is my understanding, again, that you wish to plead guilty to 1 count of criminal trespass. And I have sworn you in, and I need to ask you again, are you presently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or any medications at this time?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty that you're giving up and waiving the right to the presumption of innocence?
Yes.
And that you're also giving up or waiving the right to remain silent and not testify against yourself?
Yes.
And that you're giving up or waiving the right to trial by judge or jury, whichever you prefer?
Yes.
And are you prepared and agree to waive these rights today?
Yes.
Has anyone told you that you will receive a lesser sentence for pleading guilty?
No.
Has anyone promised you anything to plead guilty?
No.
And do you understand that if you're currently on probation, your probation could be affected by a guilty plea here today?
Yes.
And do you offer this guilty plea freely and voluntarily with the full understanding of the charge against you?
Yes, ma'am.
And as to the charge of criminal trespass, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, I will accept your plea of guilty, and you understand the conditions of your plea, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you, and that there's nothing else, Deputy Falk, that should conclude this case.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, thank you.
Position 3, Mr. Casey.
This 23 CR 0000835E, Joshua Casey, charged with 1 count of simple battery. Offense date is February 9th, 2023. I have been informed that this is the first arrest by pretrial. So Deputy Falk, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened February 9th at 4:30 a.m. at Grady Hospital, 80 Jesse Hill Drive, Junior Drive, Atlanta. The defendant was discharged and was told he could leave. However, he refused to leave after being told by the hospital security guard, Jimmy Paul, to depart. The defendant then lunged at Mr. Paul, the security guard, pushed him to the ground, and then tried to put his finger in Mr. Paul's eyes. At that point, Mr. Paul defended himself by striking the defendant 3 times, and additional security then had to restrain the defendant. When he was apprehended by police, the defendant refused to answer what had happened or give his name or date of birth. And while the officer was talking to the defendant at one point lunged at the officer with his fist balled and his jaw clenched. The state recommends, and I understand that he does not have any history, but we are asking that a social worker go out to visit him prior to his discharge due to the kind of erratic behavior that was happening here. The recommended bond was set at $2,000 surety bond. We would like it to remain as set. Stay away from Grady unless there is a medical emergency. No further contact with Jimmy Paul. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right. PD Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Joshua Casey is 25 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He does have family here. He does not have any children. Mr. Casey completed high school. At this time, he is unemployed, Your Honor. He strongly denies the allegations. He states that he was in fact a patient at Grady and that upon his discharge, the officer actually drug him out of bed and he was being physically abusive to him. My client states that he was merely defending himself. This is a first arrest for Mr. Casey. I do not have any concerns about my client's competency. Mr. Casey does have resources in place to deal with his healthcare needs. Therefore, I'm requesting a signature bond, Your Honor. We are unopposed to the stay away as recommended, being that he is to stay away unless he's there for medical care. We are also unopposed to the no contact order. Thank you.
All right. I am going to order the $2,000 surety bond. I'm going to order, and that is due to the nature of the allegations that I'm hearing. I'm going to order a stay away from Grady Hospital, Jesse Hill Jr. Drive, unless the defendant is receiving medical care. And I'm a little hesitant on that. Because we have to make sure that the employees of Grady are going to be safe if Mr. Casey is going to be on the premises. So I assume that that will be the case if he needs any medical attention later. I'm going to order a stay away from the security guard, Mr. Jimmy Paul. If you have to go back to Grady, Mr. Casey, and you see that security guard and you go the other way, because if he sees you, I'm sure he's going to call the police for your immediate arrest. We're going to order that there would be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for any medication prescribed to you. And is there anything else, counsel, that I need to take up?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Position 8, Mr. Harrison.
Okay.
And again, Your Honor, this is a pro se defendant who will take a plea.
And Your Honor, the paperwork also has been completed and submitted to Ms. Katrina Lewis for Your Honor.
All right. This is 23 CR 000-839B. Kevin Tyrone Harrison, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. That offense date is February the 9th, 2023. And I understand that you wish to represent yourself, Mr. Harrison. That's the, okay. All right, and you understand the consequences to representing yourself, but you're willing to go forward anyway?
Yes,
Okay, all right, and so you're wishing to plead guilty to 1 count of criminal trespass, is that correct?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna let the state go and I'm gonna come back to you. Go ahead, Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 12:18 p.m. The defendant was in the emergency stairwell at Peachtree Center Station at 216 Peachtree Street in disregard of an restricted area posted no trespassing. The state's recommendation in this case is 12 months probation, 1 day in custody, credit for time served, release time served, balance of probation suspended, stay away from MARTA at 216 Peachtree Street. That is the Peachtree Center MARTA station. Additionally, and just to let the jail know, There were two other charges against this defendant from 2016, which the state did file a not on docket, basically a notice of dismissal, which will complete all of his cases with the state. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harrison, is that your understanding of the plea terms and conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, and you're able to do that, is that correct? To stay away from the
Yes, ma'am.
Peachtree Center MARTA station?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I am going to ask you a series of questions in order to take your plea, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Again, are you under the influence of any medication, drugs, or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up or waiving your right to the presumption of innocence?
I do, ma'am.
Do you understand that you're giving up or waiving your right to remain silent and not testify against yourself?
I understand.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up or waiving your right to trial by judge or jury, whichever you prefer?
I understand.
And are you prepared and agree to waive these rights today?
I am, ma'am.
Has anyone told you that you will receive a lesser sentence for pleading guilty?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything to plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you're currently on probation, your probation may be revoked because of your guilty plea here today?
I understand.
And do you offer this guilty plea freely and voluntarily with a full understanding of the charge against you?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, and how do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, and so again, you are to stay away from the Peachtree Center MARTA station. And the conditions are 12 months probation, serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day, balance suspended, and with that condition, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Position 9, Mr. Jenkins.
This is 23 CR 0008388F. Deontay Jenkins. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count of giving false information to a law enforcement officer, 3rd count of the same. So 2 counts of giving false information, 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is February the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial?
I don't have that file, Judge.
You're not? All right, state, we defer to you for the criminal history.
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has 17 cycles. I'll just go over the last 10 years. He has a 2012 FTA for family violence battery, a 2017 conviction out of Clayton County for family violence battery and disorderly conduct, 2017 and 2018 probation violation from Clayton County, a 2018 criminal trespass from Clayton County conviction, a 23 CR 00009F open case for criminal trespass in Fulton County with a $2,000 SOB through the jail and a stay away from industry tavern. And he also has an open 2022 financial transaction card fraud, theft of services, and obstruction felony case in Fulton County with a level 1 UJR release. He also has an FTA warrant that I located in the jail screen that was issued on January 26, 2023 with no bond from pretrial services. In this particular case, the defendant was at the Atlanta City Corrections at 254 Peachtree Street. The officer was asked to leave, the defendant was asked to leave by Lieutenant Harris at that location. He refused to depart. He was then asked to leave by Officer Wade, who was called onto the scene to ask him to leave, and he continued to refuse, resulting in him being placed under arrest. At the time he was placed under arrest, he gave the name Raheem Jabbar and the date of birth of September 8th, 1980, which were both turned out to be false once the officers fingerprinted him. Again, the state's recommendation on this case is a $1,000 surety bond. That's $500 on the criminal trespass, $250 each on the giving false name and giving false date of birth. Stay away from 254 Peachtree Street unless incarcerated at that location and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The state's recommendation is based mainly on the defendant's 2 open cases where he has received both UJR and a signature on bond, as well as the fact that he has an open FTA that was issued January 26th by pretrial services, showing that he is not a good risk of returning to court. Thank you.
All right. PD Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deontay Jenkins is 41 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He is the proud father of 6 children. Your Honor, actually 5. One of his children passed away in 2017. He has a 10-month-old, a set of 3-year-old twins, and a 5-year-old. He is not receiving any child support, Your Honor. Mr. Jenkins completed high school. He is unemployed at this time. He has a long history of medical issues, including multiple surgeries, and he has been applying for disability, although he is not approved at this time. He has limited resources to pay anything toward bond. He also does not have any family resources for bond. I do acknowledge my client's history, but he denies the allegations. He states that he was on site there because he was just released from jail, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Jenkins' behalf. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order the $1,000 surety bond, and that will be $500 on the criminal trespass, $250 on each of the giving false information, for a total of $1,000. Going to order stay away from 254 Peachtree Street, which is the pretrial detention center. Mr. Jenkins is to stay away from there unless he's incarcerated there. So do not go back to visit anyone there. He is to have no further contact with Lieutenant Harris, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for any medication prescribed to you. And is there anything else, counsel, that I need to take up?
Your Honor, due to not knowing if Mr. Jenkins is incarcerated, it will kind of be impossible for him to have a no further contact with Lieutenant Harris, so we did not request one.
Okay, I will remove the no further contact. All right, I hope that again, there's calm, Mr. Jenkins, and that there will be no other incidents with you and any alleged victims, okay? All right, thank you.
I got it, Mike. Position 12, Matt Farley.
And Your Honor, I think we can get through this without too much detail. It's pretty straightforward.
All right, thank you. 23 CR 000-841Y, Eric McFarland, charge of 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count public drunk, and 3rd count public indecency, offense date 2/8/2023. Pretrial?
20 total. Last arrest was in November. Fade to appear shoplifting. March, fade to appear disorderly conduct and public drunk. February of last year, probation and a fade to appear. 2021 disorderly conduct, 2020 shoplifting, 2020 shoplifting conviction, and another 2020 shoplifting arrest, 2010 DUI.
All right, Deputy Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened on February 8th at 7:15 p.m. at Atlantic Station, 1380 Atlantic Drive Northwest. Officers were dispatched to a criminal trespass. They met with Ahmed Abdinasir, who is a security officer who stated the defendant was on the property after being advised not to return earlier that day. The same officer had previously issued him a criminal trespass warning from that location. So when he went back to the location and saw that he was still there, he saw that the defendant was intoxicated, smelled like alcohol, could barely stand up. The defendant was then placed under arrest for criminal trespass And while being placed into custody, the defendant began urinating openly. So the defendant currently has an FTA for theft by shoplifting, but more notably, he is currently on probation for actually very much the same kind of case, public drunk, disorderly, and public indecency. He was actually sentenced March 22nd of 2022, so he still should be on probation at this point. He also has 2 open cases out of Atlanta Municipal, a 2020 theft by shoplifting and a 2022 theft by shoplifting, where he is in a bench warrant from, a 2022 theft by shoplifting here in Fulton County, 22 CR 004376Y, and a bench warrant on a 2022 theft by shoplifting, 22 CR 00403H. For those reasons, the state's recommendation, he's currently on a $3,000 surety bond. We are asking that increase to a $5,000 surety bond, $3,000 on the public indecency, $1,000 on each of the remaining charges of criminal trespass and of public drunk. That's all for, and we're also asking for a stay away from Atlantic Station, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That is all.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Mr. Eric McFarland is 53 years old, Your Honor. He was electrician for the union and he graduated from high school. However, for the last 1 year or 2 years, he was not able to work because of the injury from auto accidents. So his employment was canceled. He could not work. He had unemployment paycheck, but it was ended a long time ago. He got the disability check, but that was also expired. He had difficulty walking. He was going through everywhere with a wheelchair. He was, all he could do was going through physical therapy to get better so he can go back to work. And yet, due to his long injury and long-term unemployment, he is now currently residentially challenged. He's been here in Georgia for more than 48 years, and yet he does not have anybody who can help him out with a bond. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for split bond, criminal trespass, maybe $1,000 good bond maximum, and public drunk and public indecency, signature on bond. Your Honor, he had no intention to be public, to have any kind of public indecency. He was just, it was an emergency for him to go. So that's it, Your Honor. We would like to request for maximum 1,000 good bond. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order a $3,000 surety bond, 1,000 on each of the counts. I'm going to order stay away from Atlantic Station. No further contact with the security guard, Ahmed, and I didn't get his last name.
I'll place it in the chat, Your Honor.
Thank you. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for those prescribed to you. And I think that will include this case. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, and I did place it in the chat to both yourself, and I'm sending it to PD Kim, and I also sent it to Ms. Lewis.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that will conclude this case.
Position 14, Mr. Nash.
This is 23 CR 000844D. Mr. Nash, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. Penn State, March the 16th, 2021. Pre-trial?
32 total. Last arrest was on the 4th of this month out of Clayton County. Obstruction, battery DV, and regular battery. 2020 terrorist threats, trespass, damage to property, ag assault, DV. 2019 shoplifting, pled NOLO. 2018 simple battery DV, hindering person from making 911 call, those were dismissed. 2017 probation, theft by taken. He was convicted of that in 2015. Well, it came off in 2015 arrest. 2014 probation, possession of cocaine with intent. 2011 probation, theft by taken. Everything else is early 2000s or 90s.
Okay. All right, ASG Abdullah.
Yes, Shauna. I just want to say in advance, please excuse me. It looks like I'm having some connection issues. So if I go out, I'll try to call back in as soon as possible.
Okay.
Show that on 16th of 2021, Mrs. for the defendant's arrest after she reported the defendant kicked down her door at 7 p.m. and hit her in the head with an unknown object in front of their shared children. Can you all hear me?
We can now. Yes.
Okay. She left the house in fear of her safety, and when she returned, the defendant had taken all of her belongings. This was a private warrant, and so because there were no officers to confirm visible injuries or the lost belongings, this case seems to be under charge as a simple battery family violence. However, there's an identical open case in which the defendant FTA'd on it, and although I don't have the exact facts of that case, the charges alone are identical to what the charges should have been in this case. He was charged with aggravated assault, family violence, possession of a knife throwing crime, home invasion, obstruction, and battery family violence, which those charges are pretty much everything that Mrs. Wiggles explained in this case. He forced his way into her home by kicking down her door. He assaulted her with an unknown object. And so we have two identical sets of facts on two separate cases. As I stated before, he did FTA on that case, and that case he FTA'd on a $35,000 straight bond. He was also ordered to have no further contact with Miss Wiggles and to stay away from her home. So in addition to the assault, he was also in direct violation of a bond order. I just want to make sure I'm covering all his history. In addition to the open case that he also has a battery family violence conviction from 2000, but he also has a simple battery family violence with the same victim from 2018, in addition to that open case, and an obstructing person from making a 911 call against the same victim. She did let us know that she would like to be on Zoom, and we were expecting her to be here. I don't see her name on the Zoom call, but if we could sound for her, I would appreciate that. And I'm sorry, I didn't read the recommendation. It'd be we're requesting a $5,000 cash bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the 1829 Camilton Road, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Good afternoon.
Nothing further from the state.
Okay. Okay, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My client is 45 years old. He is the father of 6 children, the youngest of which is only 3 months old. He does share 2 children with the alleged victim, and this is a 9-year-old and I believe a 6-year-old that he shares with the alleged victim. My client is a native of the state of Georgia and the Metro Atlanta area. He's lived here all his life. I had the opportunity to speak with Miss Ariel Wiggles, and she tells me that she and my client are no longer in a relationship, but they do share the 2 children, and she has been exchanging the children with him almost on a weekly basis, quite frequently. I did ask her if she was fearful of my client, and she said not at all. She was not afraid of him, and she wanted to continue to share the children with him. They are no longer in a relationship, Your Honor. I would like to point out to the court that this alleged incident happened certainly about 2 years ago. My client has long moved on, and based on what Miss Wiggles tells me, she has also moved on, Your Honor. My client is not in a position to pay a $5,000 cash bond. I would ask the court to set him a reasonable bond which he can afford to pay. But given his situation, the fact that he does have these children that he's taking care of, Your Honor, and his job does not pay a lot, I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting his bond. He doesn't have an issue with staying away from the location because, as I said, it was a household that he shared with Miss Wiggles a long time ago. He doesn't live there anymore, and I don't think she lives there anymore. But she certainly is okay with no further violent contact between them because she does want her children to have a relationship with their father. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
All
if we could just very quickly. We spoke with the victim this morning. She did state that she and the victim had moved on and she would no longer want to press charges. However, she called our office back. We actually, one of the victim advocates just spoke to her and she said that she couldn't get out of the interview, which is why she's not here. But she changed her mind and she said she does want to move forward with the charges. She wants the defendant to be held accountable. She says that this has happened in the past. And so she really wants the defendant to be held accountable and to seek help. In addition, we made the argument early that there's a difference between an excessive bond and an affordable bond. The defendant may not be able to afford it, but it's not at all excessive given his risk of reoffending. He has three cases of simple battery or assault in the same victim, as well as a warrant for a 2020 case, which were all felony charges against the same victim. For that reason, the state will just ask again for a $5,000 cash bond, no further contact. And the stay away is a non-issue. That's an older address. She doesn't live there anymore, so that's a non-issue. But no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
All right.
Your Honor, I spoke with the alleged victim today, and the issue is whether or not she wants to go forward with the case. The issue for purposes of bond is whether she's afraid of my client, whether or not she wants him to interact with this child. They no longer have a relationship, and that is what both of them say, but they do share some children, Your Honor, and they have been exchanging these children during the course of this 2-year period since the alleged incident happened. And she told me today that she was not at all afraid of him and that she wanted him to be able to interact with his children. I do reiterate, Your Honor, that I believe that a $5,000 cash bond is excessive under the circumstances. We're talking about a private warrant which was taken out almost 2 years ago. She has been interacting with my client. He's been seeing his children. The purpose of a bond is to ensure that someone shows up for trial. I have not heard any FTAs mentioned in my client's history, and I think he will be able to show a bond. But to ask someone who has to take care of 6 children to post a bond of a $5,000 cash bond under the circumstances, I would argue is excessive.
Okay.
He has a warrant for violating those conditions of the first bond, which there's still an open case that he hasn't resolved. So the state would just say until he can get the cases, the open cases, as well as this case resolved, we would just again ask for no further contact with the victim.
Your Honor, it's my advocacy is not with respect to whether or not he can contact the victim, but he should have access to his children, and she's okay with that.
Right, that's fine. We would agree to a third party, a third party transfer to children.
Okay. All right. I'm going to order a $10,000 surety bond. I'm going to order that there be no further contact with the victim. And is it Ariel Wiggins?
Aria Wiggles, yes, Your Honor.
Wiggles. Right, no further contact with her. There won't need to be a stay away unless you want me to put a stay away from a new address that she has. But no further contact with her should be sufficient. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Third-party transfer for any visitation that is allowed with the children. And I think that's all. Anything else, counsel?
That was it for the state.
Nothing further for the defense, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, you said that's a $10,000 good bond?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 15, Anthony Norman, 15.
This is 23 CR 0008458, Anthony Norman, charged with one count of giving false information to law enforcement. Offense date February the 9th, 2023. Free trial.
15 total. Last arrest was 2020 arson, trespass, damage to property, felony terrorist threats. On probation for that, 20 SC 176812. They gave him 10 years, a 10-year sentence, 2 to serve, 8 years probated. Also on probation, possession of marijuana with intent, possession of MDMA, 17 SC 150375. October 2018, they gave him 5 years probation for that. 2020 parole violation. He got a couple of convictions for possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender. One was from 2015, one was from 2012. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. ASG Abdullah.
Yes, Your Honor. The facts show that on February 9th, 2023, officers were at the scene at 80 Jesse Hill Jr. Drive. It was the scene of a person shot in which the defendant was the victim. Officers asked the defendant his name, at which time he gave the name Eric D. Jones because he has an active warrant for a probation violation. As you heard from pre-trial, his history is somewhat remote. He hasn't been in trouble in the last few years. For that reason, the state is recommending a $3,000 signature bond through pre-trial and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
All right.
Your Honor, we have no objection, except we prefer to have a signature on bond through jail. He has to go back to take care of his gunshot wound, Your Honor.
Go back where?
The Grady Hospital. He needs medical attention. He was shot last night, Your Honor.
I'm sure that pretrial services can work around his medical appointments, but the state is just recommending the pretrial services just so we can keep supervision on the keep him under supervision to ensure that he comes back to court. He doesn't have a perfect record. In fact, he has an FTA from 2017, which is why we were requesting the extra security on the bond.
All right. I do agree with the state. I'm going to order the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. And PD Kim, it'll just help him keep his information current with pretrial. He can call in and they will give him ways to report. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons except for any drugs prescribed to him for his health. And is there anything else I need to order, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
All right, that is it. $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, next we have position number 16, Mr. Polina.
All right. This is 23 CR 0000846F. Mr. Alan Polina, you're charged at 1 count of reckless conduct. The offense date is February 9, 2023, pretrial.
Judge, real quick, what was the last bond amount?
$3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Oh, that's definitely per judge. I'm sorry.
Per judge, I'm sorry, per judge.
Second arrest for this gentleman.
Okay,
Last arrest was in July. Disorderly conduct, obstruction, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. That obstruction was a conviction. He got hit with a freight charge. That was a conviction. That was amended from disorderly conduct. That's it.
all right. ASG Abdullah.
Your Honor, the facts showed it on February the 9th, 2023. Officers were called to Georgia Piedmont Hospital in regards to someone shot. They were called by the hospital staff. When they arrived, they met with the defendant, who told them he and Miss Estrella Denise, who was the victim, were walking from the gas station when a suspicious vehicle started shooting at them. The defendant's mother told officers she was in her bedroom when she heard a gunshot from the defendant's room. She also heard Miss Denise crying, and the defendant told her he was cleaning his Glock and he accidentally shot Miss Denise. Miss Denise is 28 weeks pregnant and was hit in her abdomen. The defendant's mom took her to Piedmont Hospital, where she was airlifted to Grady in critical condition, according to the officers. As you heard from pretrial, he does only have 2 arrests, so there is not an extensive history. However, we are concerned about a risk of reoffending and intimidation of witness or witness influencing, because the defendant never showed any remorse for this situation. In fact, instead of telling officers exactly what happened and telling the truth to medical staff so that Miss Denise could get the proper care that she needed, he lied and said that he lied to officers and told them that it was someone else. The defendant also never called 911. It was the hospital staff that had to call. And so we feel like the defendant may try to elude prosecution and at which point possibly influence the witness not to cooperate with the prosecution of this case. For that reason, and also the fact that he's shown no remorse in doing so by lying to the police, the state is recommending a $20,000 good bond, no further contact with the victim, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. I do believe that the victim is, or I'm sorry, Miss Denise is on the Zoom call. If we could sound for her.
Okay, Miss Denise.
Hi.
Hi. Do you wish to address the court today?
Yeah.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
State your name for the record.
Denise Estrella.
Okay, your last name is Estrella?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and are you in fear of the defendant, Mr. Polina?
No.
You're not in fear of him?
No.
Do you all reside together?
No, not yet.
Okay, and you're still in a relationship with him?
Yes.
And you're still pregnant to deliver his child?
Yes.
Okay. When is your child due?
April 30th.
Okay. All right. Any cross-examination, Mr. Abdullah?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any cross-examination, PD Kim?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead and present PD Kim.
Yes. Mr. Alan Polina is 19 years old, Your Honor. And he actually is, he completed up to 12th grade, but he did not graduate from high school. So he's trying to go back to school or complete with a GED. He has started working at Pinnacle Custom Builders as a carpenter knowing that she is having a baby soon, Your Honor, they're expecting a baby this coming April. He's been working for the last 6 months to save money so that way they can marry together. They're engaged and they want to live together. Right now, my client is residing with his mother, his parents. They do not live together. As you heard, they have no, complaining witness has no fear of my client and their relationship is still strong. We would like to request for no further violent contact. And also this is the first violent offense. We would like to request for signature on bond. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, very briefly, if I could ask the Miss Estrella one question.
Okay.
Just briefly, I apologize. Ms. Estrella, did you ever hear the defendant? Did you ever hear the defendant say that you all were shot at by a suspicious vehicle or that someone else shot you?
No, but I told him to say that.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mrs. PD Kim, I'm sorry, do you have any further questions of Miss Australia?
No, nothing further.
So, Your Honor, you see that the Miss Australia has just admitted that there has been some influence, regardless of what side they have been in concert as far as lying to officers about exactly what happened. And for that reason, we're just going to ask again for no further contact so that we can effectively prosecute this case and protect Miss Australia.
Okay. I'm going to order due to the alarming facts that I'm hearing in this case, I'm going to order the $20,000 good bond, surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the victim. I'm sorry. Yes, no further contact with the victim, Denise Australia. So there's going to be no further contact right now. So you can make sure there's been a cooling down period and that you will be safe, Miss Australia. So you are to have no further contact with the defendant, Alan Polina.
But what am I to do? I depend on him to take care of me and my son.
You have a second child, or are you talking about the child that's unborn?
I'm talking about that I'm carrying.
Okay. You live with your parents?
No, just my mom.
Okay, so you live with your mother. And how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, you're 20. 20, you're working and you're living with your mom. So I would suspect that your mom can help you.
No, she can't help my brother, so that's not an option.
Okay, well, Mr. Polina can help you from a distance. He just can't come around you, but he can send money. And so I'm going to do this for your own protection. I'm going to do it for your own protection right now.
He didn't do anything to me.
Well, that's for another time. This is a bond hearing, and I want to make sure that you're safe. This just happened yesterday, and we need to make sure that you and your baby are going to be safe. His attorney knows if they want to file for a bond modification, they can do that. But right now, with the facts and circumstances that I have, I feel that this is going to be best for all parties involved, especially you and your unborn child. I'm going to make sure that you're going to be safe and that Mr. Polina and yourself have some cooling down time, stay away from each other, and that you have a safe pregnancy. So that is the order of the court. Thank you.
Judge, there's no stay away, correct?
I don't have a stay away address, but let's see, Deputy Abdullah, should I add a stay away address? I have no further contact with her. And if there's to be no contact, then there should be a stay away as well. But of course, I just had the Georgia Piedmont Hospital, but we certainly won't order that. But we have an address for Miss Australia.
Your Honor, I just missed the last 2 or 3 minutes. I didn't hear the final ruling. My internet went out, but I would like to also just add if the defendant could surrender any handguns to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office upon release.
Right, if defendant, if you, Mr. Polina, if you make bond and you're released, then any handguns that you have, you need to turn them over to the, would it be the Atlanta
Fulton
Police
County-
Department or Fulton
The
County
Fulton
Sheriff's
County Sheriff's
Department?
Office.
I'm sorry, Fulton County Sheriff's Department. Any guns or handguns that you have in your home. Miss Australia, are you still with us?
Yes.
Can you give me your address, please?
300 Ashley Park Boulevard.
300 Ashley Park Boulevard.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna order to stay away from that address. All right, thank you. Good luck to you. That should conclude this case.
Next, we have position number 17, Mr. River Salo.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000847Y River Salos, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property. Offense date January 25th, 2023. Pre-trial.
This second arrest, last was January of last year out of Woodstock. Fleeing or attempting to elude an officer. It was NOD, Cherokee County.
All right. ASG Abdullah.
Yes, Your Honor. The facts showed that on January 25th, 2023, the defendant was observed on surveillance footage parking his vehicle on the Georgia Tech's campus and exiting the vehicle with 3 other males around 2 a.m. The defendant and the other males walked together to first drive and stop near a bus stop, at which point one of the males walked away from the group and spray painted graffiti on a shipping container. While the male was spray painting, the other defendant stood nearby and waited for him to return to the group. After he finished, the group continued walking down the road and then turned back around and went to their car and left. A few days later, officers were able to identify the victim based off of his license plate number, and they recovered his cell phone, at which time they called him and spoke to him. They asked him for the male's name who did the graffiti. The defendant told him that the unknown male was named, Bryce Ledbetter, but he did not have any other information. The officers asked if the defendant would be willing to come down and talk to them in person, at which time he denied, but the officers told him if he did not want to meet in person, they would put a warrant out for his arrest. And so he agreed to meet with them in person. Once in person, the defendant admitted to officers that he in fact lied about the male's name, Bryce Ledbetter, and that Mr. Ledbetter was not involved at all. And in fact, it's his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. The defendant also refused to give any information on the male who did the graffiti or any other males that he was with that day. As you heard from pre-trial, he does not have an extensive record. He does have a fleeing from last year. For that reason, the state is recommending a $2,500 signature bond through pre-trial, a stay away from Georgia Tech campus, specifically the 351 First Drive, but all of Georgia Tech campus, if that's possible for us to make happen, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection.
All right, I understand Mr. Salos is 18 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's going to need a cosigner.
It's up to the pretrial service. His mother is here. If pretrial needs cosigner,
Right.
she is willing to cosign.
What's his mother's name?
Danya Salo, Danya. I guess she wrote Dose, Doucette, as the
Okay.
last name.
All right, that's the mother of the defendant, Mr. Salos.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I will grant the 2,500 signature bond through pretrial. And Miss Doucette or Miss Silos, You're prepared to co-sign on the bond for your son? Unmute yourself. Turn your camera back on for me. There you go. Yep. Okay, now unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And
All
it is,
right.
my last name is Doucette.
Okay. All right, Ms. Doucette, are you prepared to co-sign the signature bond for your son?
Can you, there you are. Can you explain to me what that means exactly? I am prepared to sign for him to bond, but does that mean I have to come with the 2,500 also? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
only if he fails to appear at the court.
Okay. I just want to be sure I'm clear. Yes, I will
Yes.
sign for him. I will make
Yes.
sure he's at court. Yes.
Pre-trial, she have to have her ID and
Come
a
here.
utility bill.
May we have a utility bill waived?
Unless you're gonna waive it.
Yes, please.
Yes. Are you able, are you at home and able to bring a utility bill when you arrive to pick him up?
I have utility bills that they're all in my husband's name. I have other bills, I mean, other things in my name, but all the utilities are under my husband's name.
And I imagine his last name is Doucette.
Yes, ma'am. I do
Okay.
have, I'm on an account with River that does have our address, a bank account, if you want me to bring that. It shows River's
No.
name and my name.
No, I'll waive the utility bill.
So
Okay.
mother's coming?
Yes. And then get
All
her
right.
name. You see it spelled. Is it spelled correctly on there? D-A-N-Y-A, Dania or Danya?
Was that
Danya, yes.
Danya.
D-O-U, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
D-O-U-C-E-T-T-E.
All right, mother, I put the address to where you need to co-sign that in the chat. So
What? Okay, in the chat.
yes.
Sorry, if I can find that somewhere here. I'm sorry, I'm not very, I have teenagers to help me with technology, not me. Okay.
Now, once you co-sign, it can be between 8 to 24 hours after, you know, for him to be released. So once you co-sign, you can go back home or go wherever.
8 to 24 hours?
Yes, but the process doesn't start until you come and co-sign.
Okay, I live 2.5 hours away.
Wow.
So will there be somebody there after hours to sign? Sorry, I thought we understood that when I signed, he was coming with me.
Don't work that fast.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome to Fulton County, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
obviously you'll need to stay around because driving 2 hours will certainly put you out.
We're in White County, in Sawtee, so that's.
Wow, okay. Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, you'll need to come and co-sign by 11 because they're gonna
By 11 p.m. tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to the address I
Okay.
put in the chat.
With the address you put in the chat. Okay.
Can you see that address?
I can't.
You may just have to read it to her real quick pre-trial.
It's 1101 Jefferson Street, Atlanta, Georgia 30318.
You've muted yourself, Mr. Set. We can't hear you.
It's a pre-trial trailer.
He's trying to give you the address verbally.
Okay, I just said if he would slow down, I'm ready to write it down. I'm sorry, will you repeat that, please?
1101 Jefferson Street.
Okay.
Atlanta, Georgia 30318.
30318.
Correct. It's the pre-trial trailer. So when you get to the guard shack, you gotta let them know that you come to co-sign for your son, and they'll let you through. And it'll be in the first parking lot on the right side. Once you go to the guard shack.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're not actually coming inside of the jail is what he's trying to tell you.
Okay, it'll be out. Okay.
But
right.
But you are waiving?
Yes, I'm gonna waive the utility
right.
bill.
I'm about to send it to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Am I good to leave am I good to leave
yes,
now?
because you need to start driving. Huh?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
be careful.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Last but not least, position 20, Mr. Towns.
All right. What happened to 19? Swint,
They said he was
Bond it out.
Bonded out.
thank you. This is 23 CR 0000843G. Romulus Towns, charged with one count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, offense date February the 8th, 2023, pretrial.
15 total. Last arrest was in August out of Douglas County, probation violation. On probation in Coweta County, entering auto, 4 counts, 1 count criminal damage to property. Last year in February, they gave him 5 years probation for that.
Okay,
Hold on. 2020? No, 2021 failed to appear. 2020 probation. Driving without a valid license, sale of marijuana conviction. 2020. Got a 2019 forgery in the 4th. Financial transaction card theft, giving false name, possession of drug-related objects, identity theft fraud. 2019 suspended license, fleeing an officer, obstruction conviction. 2018 probation. 2018 misdemeanor possession of marijuana conviction. 2017 entering auto conviction. Another 2017 entering auto. Hold on. Yeah, it's 2 of them. All right. And the theft by receiving conviction. That was out of Cobb County, 2016. That's it.
okay,
Your Honor, the facts show that on February the 8th, 2023, officers were at the Hilton Hotel in regards to a possible fraud offense. Hotel staff reported that someone checked in under another customer's name, and it was confirmed that said customer was not present in the hotel and did not consent to the check-in. Officers made contact with Kazia Davis, who was identified as the individual who checked in under the other customer's name. While arresting Ms. Davis, the defendant approached officers and told them Ms. Davis was his girlfriend and that he had just dropped her off. Another officer on the scene witnessed the defendant park at the entrance and dropped Ms. Davis off and then left again. Officers ran the defendant through GCIC and in return, his license was suspended. When officers asked how he got to the location, he told them he drove his vehicle, a red Chrysler 300. He also told, when they asked who was the owner of the vehicle, he told them that he owned the vehicle. Ms. Davis, who was arrested on scene as well, also told officers that she was in fact the owner of the vehicle. When the vehicle's registration was ran through GCIC, it returned belonging to a rental company out of Florida. The defendant was arrested for lying to officers as to the ownership of the vehicle. At this time, due to the defendant's FTA from 2021, he does pose a flight risk, as well as his previous conviction for obstruction in 2021, as well as the fleeing charge from 2021 goes to his risk of reoffending, as well as his potential to be a flight risk. For that reason, the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, 1031 Virginia Avenue, which is the Hilton Hotel, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
all right,
Your Honor, my client is 23 years old. He denies that he lied to the officers. What he tells me is that the car that he drove, the red Chrysler, was actually recently purchased by himself and his girlfriend, who was one in the hotel. He says that they had just bought it at an auction and just had not, the paperwork had not yet gone into their name. And that is the reason why it came back as a rental car, but it didn't come back stolen or anything, Your Honor. So he's saying that the information that he gave to the police officers was in fact correct. Therefore, he was not obstructing anything because he did truthfully answer the police officers. Your Honor, this is something that is disputed, and my client maintains that he truthfully answered the police officers. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. This is what you would call a victimless crime, even if it was in fact true that he was lying to the police officers, which he maintains that he was not. And I believe that by the time this comes up for trial, he will be able to show that he and his girlfriend are in fact the owners of this car. Nothing further, Your Honor. Mr. Towns, do not speak. I will speak for you.
And does Mr. Towns live here in Georgia? Or
He
in
does, Your
Florida?
Honor. He lives with his mom. I can give you an address where he lives.
Okay.
With his mom. He
All
lives
right.
at 7893 Wilkerson Lane in Palmetto,
Your Honor,
Fulton County.
Your Honor,
Yes,
the
Mr.
issue,
Abdullah.
the issue to the defendant's guilt or innocent is one that we can save for trial. The defense attorney stated she hasn't made any arguments in regards to the IOLA factors. Again, the defendant does have an FTA from 2021, as well as a fleeing conviction from 2021, which speaks to his potential to be a flight risk, as well as another obstruction charge from 2021 that speaks to his risk of reoffending. And for that reason, we're requesting that $1,000 surety bond, as well as a stay away and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. Nothing further from the state.
Your Honor, we take the position that he could well have been telling the police officers the truth. They just decided he was obstructing because it was showing in the system that the car was registered to a rent-a-car company. This sometimes happens that it takes a little time for titles to turn over. It sometimes takes weeks. In fact, in some cases, it can take months. So there is nothing in this. This is just a police officer called to assume that my client was lying. There is nothing at all that could disprove what my client actually said to the police officer. He said he told him that the car was theirs.
Your Honor, we agree that it could take. We agree with what she's saying about the registration. Again, it's an issue of whether or not the defendant is innocent or guilty. And that's not why we're here today. We're here to just address the bond. We've laid out the facts and our argument as to why we feel like the bond should be $1,000 surety. And that's it from the state.
Your Honor, I believe that under the circumstances, my client should get a signature bond because this is something that's clearly, it could be that he's totally correct and he's presumed innocent, Your Honor. And this is a situation where it's a police officer call. He asserts that he told the officer the truth.
Well, I agree that in my Ayala factors, I want to make sure that he is going to return to court. And I am concerned about the FTAs of fleeing, things of that nature, to make sure that he's going to return in determining about the signature bond. I know that the charge may be minor, the facts may be in dispute, but I have other factors to look at in my Ayala factors. And normally that deals with FTAs and other charges in criminal history that may have me concerned as to whether or not this defendant is going to show back up. And
He's
so that is what.
He's currently unemployed, Your Honor, so he's not in a position to post bond. He's been unemployed for the past 2 months, he tells me.
All right, but he resides with his mother?
He does, Your Honor.
All right, I am going to.
Your Honor, I don't have any FTAs. I just wanted to say that before you give your ruling. I don't know where the FTA is coming from, but I'm very functional with all my court dates, any matters I have.
I'm not for sure about that. I don't have any evidence different or to dispute that unless ASG Abdullah does.
Not to cut you off.
I'm not for sure if your attorney is going to want you to continue speaking. Be careful.
No, Your Honor, according to his GCIC, he has an FTA. It was also, I seen it on there as well as the pretrial. The pretrial raised it at the beginning of the case.
All right, I am going.
What do you want to talk about, your bond?
No, I have a question as of where was the FTA issued from? Because I might have been incarcerated when the FTA was issued. I have never been served the FTA on the street. I have missed court days due to being incarcerated, but that is totally different. So if that's the FTA that he's pertaining to, then I was not able to make it legal.
Do you have that information, Mr. Abdullah?
I'm sorry, my internet went out, you all froze. I didn't.
Oh.
All right, let
Where
me
is that?
chime in. Let me chime in.
Okay.
Where did it go? 2021, you had an FTA for possession of marijuana that was dismissed out of Palmetto.
I was incarcerated.
What else?
In the 2020, you had fleeing and obstruction, I think.
Yeah, he had that.
Douglas County.
He got probation violations. Yeah, that's the FTA I saw. I think that was the only one, actually.
I was incarcerated for the FTA, Your Honor.
Okay. I mean, he might have been. That's maybe why I was dismissed. I don't know. It's possible.
Okay. All right, I am going to grant a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. I am going to order that there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for any prescriptions prescribed to you. And no driving unless you have a valid driver's license through DDS. Looks like they may have been suspended, so you should not be driving. And I think that is all that I'm going to order.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I froze out. What was the bond amount?
It's a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Just check your email.
Oh, okay, that's right. I gotta sign the waiver.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we're done here in courtroom 2. May we be excused?
Yes, you may. Have a good weekend.
All right. Have a good weekend. See you guys tomorrow if you're
No,
here.
happy Super Bowl weekend.
Listen.
Huh?
You ready?
Yes,
I know. Where'd she go?
I'm right here.
You right there.
There you go. I can't see you today.
Okay. Position number 1, $3,000 good bond. Position number 2 was a plea. Position number 3, $2,000 good bond. Position number 4, $5,000 good bond. Position number 5, reset for tomorrow SCA. Position number 6, $3,000 good bond. Position number 7, reset further notice, $3,000 pretrial bond. Position number 8 was a plea. Position number 9 was a $1,000, $1,000 good bond. Position number 10, $4,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 11 is a $3,000 good bond. Position number 12 is a $3,000 good bond. Position number 13 is a $6,000 good bond. Position number 14 is a $10,000 good bond. Position number 15 is a $3,000 pretrial bond. Position number 16 is a
15 per judge.
per judge. Position number 16 is a $20,000 good bond. Position number 17 is a $2,500 pretrial bond. Position number 18 is a $5,000 good bond. Position number 19, reset further notice. Position number 20 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Position 21 is a $2,500 good bond. Position number 22 is a $3,000 good bond. Any questions, concerns?
No, I'm good.
None from the state.
All right, that sounds good. Everybody have a good weekend.
Sending it over right
you.
now, Judge.